Story time on when I thought that Mary King did not have my back. Part one. Okay, so I have always been the middle child. I've always been mediocre. Mediocre hair. I was always between Monique and Margaret with that. My color, my skin color was always between Monique and Margaret. Margaret was always a lighter caramel color. Monique was always a dark coffee color. No cream, no sugar, just dark coffee. Okay, me on the other hand, I was in between Margaret and Monique with the height. Monique was like 5'5". Margaret was always 6'2". I was always 6'1". But I grew up that way. This is always how it has always been. It would have never changed. This particular story takes place when I was like maybe in the ninth grade. Now, keep in mind, Monique was already like in the 11th grade. By me being in the ninth grade, Monique was already at the school that I was attending. But her class never was with my class. I was always by myself. But my mom kept us clean. But, by her raising 4 kids on her own, she had to struggle. So, that's never here or there, whatever the case may be. But in this one particular class, this teacher did not like me because of my mom. I didn't know why she didn't like me because of my mom, but come to find out, her and my mom had run into each other about a similar situation, but we'll get into that in another story. Well, this teacher found out that I was Mary King's daughter. So every time I went to her class, she had something to say. It was something about my book bag. It was something about my hair. It was something about my height. It was something about my weight. So by me catching on to that, this teacher didn't like me because of my mom, and she made that clear in front of the whole class. She didn't try to hide it. She would just say stuff in front of the whole class like, "Oh, Monica, that book bag, you can't sit that book bag in the alleyway. You just can't do it. Monica, I don't want you sitting in the back of the class, Monica. I want you sitting up here because you keeping up too much shit. Oh, Monica, I don't want you doing this. I don't want you doing that." But keep in mind, I wasn't doing anything that nobody else was doing in the class. She just made sure that she pointed me out. So I went home. And every time I went home, I would mention it to my mom, like, "Mom, this teacher don't like me, this. And she said that she know you." My mom never said nothing. She would just kind of brush it off. "Monica, you can't get suspended, Monica. I want you just to go ahead and stick it out, whatever. This is your first time in high school. Just stick it out. It's just, she don't got a problem with you. It's just you think she do." All this time now, I kept telling this lady that, leave me. Okay, so it was 2 incidents that happened that I thought my mom would actually go and handle this lady. The first incident, I don't know if y'all remember when the stretch jeans first came out. They was straight leg, they was elastic, they was form fitting, and this and this and this. Now keep in mind, I always had a big breast. I always had big breasts. I always had a big butt. But I was tall, so my weight was always even. Just like it is now. It's always even. I'm a little fat, but it's okay. But anyway, my mom went and bought me some of those stretch jeans. She bought me 2 pair. A dark blue pair and a black pair. I had wore the blue pair to school one day. But when I wore them to school, as soon as I walked in the classroom, she was like, "You're going to either need to put on a longer shirt or you're going to have to go home and change your clothes." I'm like, "Why should I have to go home and change my clothes?" She was like, "Those jeans is too form-fitting, and Monica, you just too figure-ish for these jeans, and they're a distraction." I was like, "Well, everybody else is wearing them." She was like, "But what did I say?" So she sent me to the office. When she sent me to the office, the secretary like, "Monica, there's nothing wrong with your jeans." She was like, "Go back to class." I went back to class. The principal even walked me to the class and put me back in the class because there was nothing wrong with what I had on. Okay, so the teacher, that whole class, this teacher constantly was messing with me about these jeans. When I say she messed with me about these jeans, she was like, "I want you to sit up here, and I don't want you to get up. I'll just get it myself. And if you need to go to the bathroom, you have to go to the bathroom in between the exchanging classes." I'm like, "Well, why are you keep saying something to me about these jeans?" She was like, "Well, you don't keep talking to me, and this is this, or I'm going to write you up." Oh, okay, so I didn't say anything because my mother had already told me the day before, "Monica, don't get in trouble at school." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm not," but still, this teacher is still messing with me and this and this and that. So my stepdad even said something to my mom like, "Hey, I don't like the way that this teacher is talking to Monica." So school let out that day. I went home and I told my mom what happened. My mom, this time, she started paying attention. She was like, what was the big deal? I said, I don't know. I said, but she made it clear in front of the whole class that she didn't want me in here with these jeans on. Not only did she not want me in there with the jeans on, I went to get a book from off of the thing. Everybody, she was passing out books or whatever the case may be. I went to go get a book, and she was like, with your big ass. And that's what she said. I heard her when she said it, and she said it underneath her breath, but I heard her when she said it. I turned around, and when I turned around, she kind of snickered a little bit, but she went on about her business. I made that clear to Mary King that what she had said. My stepdad was mad about it. My mom just kind of didn't say nothing. She kind of gave me this look like, So I went to school the next day. So maybe a week or two went by. Now, keep in mind, I told y'all I have asthma. Okay, so it was like in between weather, coming from summer to fall. And that's when like the mold and stuff is get high or whatever the case may be. I came in and I was struggling to breathe. I've always had my inhaler on me at all times, but I was struggling to breathe. I told this lady, I said, I need to go to the office because I can't breathe. She was like, oh, you breathing just fast because you're talking to me. I said, but I cannot breathe, honey. I said, I can't breathe. I'm having an asthma attack. I need to go to the office. This lady consistently was thinking that I was lying as she kept me in that class. But by her keeping me in that class, the guy that was sitting like 3 seats behind me was friends with Monique. He went to the bathroom, but he went to Monique's class and told Monique, Monica's having an asthma attack and the teacher is not letting her go to the office. Monique comes down to my class. She comes to the door. She's like, Monica. She called my attention. Like I said, Monique came to the door. She like, Monica, come on. The teacher like, you ain't got nothing to do with this. Monique told her like, get out of my face. I'm taking my sister to the office because she cannot breathe. So when Monique said this, I grabbed my book bag and I started walking towards the door. The lady got up out of her chair. She grabbed my shirt and she held on to my shirt like, you don't run my class. Monica, stay here, and I'm gonna go ahead and call the office because you shouldn't even be down here. You should be upstairs. Monique came, and when Monique walked up on me, Monique grabbed the teacher's hand and she threw it down. She grabbed me and we started walking towards the door. By the time we got to the hallway, the teacher ran to the doorway and this is what she said. She was like, both of y'all disrespectful. Ain't nothing wrong with her. And she said, I'm going to make sure that she either gets suspended or expelled because you don't run my class. I'm in charge here. I don't give a damn who's your mother. Is exactly what the lady said to me and Monique. Monique walked me to the office. When Monique walked me to the office, Monique called home and she told my mom what was going on. She told my mom I couldn't breathe. All my mom was thinking that was to get to the school, get me out of the school, and take me to the hospital. So because my asthma it was so severe, I went to the hospital. My mom took me to the hospital. They admitted me for like 5 days. Now keep in mind, my mom never spoke on this teacher. My mom never said anything to me. But I stayed in the hospital for 5 days. So after I got out that 5 days, my mom kept me out an additional 4 days to make sure that my medicine was right, my breathing was okay, and this and that. Monique was also bringing my homework home, but she never could get my homework from that teacher because the teacher didn't want Monique back in her class. So then when I had to go back to school, my mom told me, she said, Monica, make sure you don't say nothing to that teacher. You get in there, you do what you got to do, and she said, you have a good day. When my mom said this, I walked out the door, got on the bus, me and Monique, I went to school. Not knowing that Mary King was furious, burnt, set on fire, she was pissed. Okay, so maybe it was time for me to go to this lady's class. I get to the classroom. I sit down, I don't say nothing. She was like, are you having an asthma attack now? Are you having an asthma attack now? Can you breathe? And this and that. So I never said a word to her because my mom told me not to. But I knew, you know how you have a funny feeling something is wrong? I had this feeling like something is wrong. So maybe about 10 or 15 minutes into the class, I see the door open. When I see the door to this lady's class open, I hear somebody in the background like, ma'am, 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 ma'am. Soon as I looked over, who did I see? Mary King at the door. When I say Mary King came through that door, Mary King came through that door. That teacher turned around. She had her back to the door. When my mom snatched that door open, my mom walked straight in there, didn't say a word. The man in the hallway was telling my mom she needed to sign in at the office. My mom turned around to him and she told him, she said, go ahead and call Dayton police because listen to what I tell you. This bitch ain't gonna keep fucking with my daughter. Is exactly what my mom said in front of the whole class. They froze. They all looking at my mom. I'm looking at my mom. I'm looking at my stepdad and I'm looking at the man in the hallway. My mom turned around, and when my mom grabbed this lady, she grabbed her the first time. The lady went on the other side of her desk. My mom told her, she's like, you holding a grudge over something that happened 20-something years ago. She said, but you've been messing with my daughter. You the reason why she went to the hospital. This lady turned to my mom and was like, you not going to do nothing. You know those long rulers that they keep in the class? This lady grabbed that damn ruler, and she held it up, and she thought she was going to hit my mom with it. When I tell you, my mom grabbed her by the front of her shirt and drug her over that damn desk. My mom drug her over the desk, and the fight was on. When I tell you, my mom kicked this lady's ass all through that goddamn classroom, and the man that was in the hallway could not break it up because my stepdad was standing there. My mom kicked this lady's ass, told me, get your shit and get to the goddamn door. When we got to the door, my mom walked to the office. By that time, Dayton police had pulled up. And my mom explained to them exactly what happened. Monique told them exactly how this lady put her hands on me. And the boy that was sitting behind me told them what this lady had been doing to me in this classroom. Now, keep in mind, by her being a teacher, she didn't lose her job. What they did was they changed my class. What they should have did was they should have changed my class then. My mom told me when we were sitting in the office, she said, Monica, she said, you thought I wasn't listening. She said, this did not have nothing to do with you. This lady had, my mama had some type of altercation like 20 years back, and she remembered it or whatever, but she held it against me the whole time I was in her class. Now, at that point, that's when I knew that my mom had my back. I didn't believe it at first because she wasn't paying attention to me, but at that moment, I knew that this was my mom. She wasn't taking no shit off of nobody, and that she had my back. So I thought at first that Mary King wasn't paying attention to nothing that I was telling her about this teacher, but at the end of the day, that's my mom. And I absolutely adore my mom. Me and her don't get along all the time. Don't get me wrong, me and Mary King have it out. But listen to me. I love my mom, and my mom had my back.